together? Is that the right version you reading? It ain't got nothing to do with your God. I'm talking about who did that Bible. He had an agenda, not God. You heard what I said. Don't misinterpret my words. That's another reason why I be having music playing. Not for you to chop it up and try to make it seem like I'm saying something I'm not. You heard exactly what I said. This ain't got nothing to do with God. I'm talking about the agenda behind King James. Because he was our enemy. Remember I said they came with flowers and the gun was in their back pocket so they could get friendly with you? Come on, y'all ahead. Come on, let's gather up and worship this scripture right here. They gave us specific instructions that we have to follow by. We gotta kill you because it says so. You sure that God did that or did he do that? Or did he do that? No, Deuteronomy. No, it's about us. Okay, it is. But who was he instructing? And look, what's crazy is that same agenda is in the Hebrew version. Taking a lot of stuff that he thought he learned and flipped it to his liking. That's what the losers will do. They may pretend like they won. Especially if you ain't see the war, because it's spiritual. Ooh, they make pretend like, see how they work with me? They make pretend like they won because you didn't see the war, because it was spiritual. That's why it's important. But back to Melvin Herskovich, he learned that the Hebrew, studied at the Hebrew.
Jake Paul takes on Anderson Silva in the most exciting fight spectacle of the year. Paul, Silva, Saturday, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, live on pay-per-view.
In the next 30 seconds, you will learn how to get your groceries covered for the rest of the year. If you're born before 1957 and live in one of 20 lucky states, there's a brand new program that Americans have been rushing to sign up for. It's true.
But back to Melvin Herskovich, he learned that the Hebrew, studied at the Hebrew Union College, a Jewish institution. We'll go back. Hebrew Union College, Cincinnati campus, as traditionally suggested by his family, being as though the college is a Jewish institution of religion. When the United States involved themselves in the conflict known as World War I on July 28, 1914, history loves to state that Melville allegedly quelled his studies to enlist in the, quote, Army's Medical Corps and headed off to Europe. Now, keep in mind that his mother was from Germany and his father from Hungary, in which both places, including Bulgaria and the Ottoman Empire, fought against Russia, Italy, France, Japan, Romania, Great Britain, and of course the United States. What's very noteworthy here is which side of the conflict Melville allegedly subscribed to, because there is no actual records of him enrolling in the United States Army in the first place. Yeah, and I'm just getting started here. Now, when he returned to North America, Melville transferred to the University of Chicago at a time where anthropology was heavily influenced by the deceitful hidden agendas of industrialism, along with political European colonialism, where pseudoscientific theories were not only praised by one particular group of people.
Hold on, because I don't want this picture to go past. Who's that right here, y'all? Can y'all see my, hold on, let me go to the second page. Who's that? Who's this guy right here? Charles Mason was the president. Listen to this, y'all. Listen to this. Was the president of the University of Chicago and also the president of the Rockefeller Foundation. But who's this? I'm looking in the chat. Nah, that's not JP Morgan. JP Morgan is heavyset. I know, right? That ain't Hitler. What president? It's a president. Uh-huh. Nah. And by the way, I told throughout my entire span of being on YouTube, I told you that the University of Chicago was enlisted by President Woodrow Wilson. The Rockefellers, John D. Rockefeller, excuse me, not the Rockefellers, John D. Rockefeller, Henry Ford, and J.P. Morgan. The University of Chicago was indefinitely involved with creating the educational system, forced schooling. They funded it. As far as the Rockefellers are concerned, funded the University of Chicago. And keep in mind, the president is right here, Charles Mason. So I just told you who this guy right here was, didn't I? Who that right there? Okay. Now, when I tell you that people are involved, when I tell you that people are involved in the government to make sure that they establish a plan to work against you, I'm talking about this era right here. This era right here. Notice he was born in 1877, died 1961. This era right here, late 1800s. Remember when I told you when white supremacy started? Because the first thing they established was to decimate your literacy. Was 1890. It ain't that long ago now. All this add up. All of it. That's why I do all the constant reminders to let you know how every single video I put out correlate. Because I can put it all in one video, but I gotta break it down bit by bit so people can fully understand where I'm coming from. These are your enemies. And then there's a particular guy right here, right beside Charles, that you about to see who this is. This is when he was young, right here. You about to see who this is, and you gonna recognize his face right away. Trust me. I'm about to tell you who that is. But yeah, the president up there chilling. Let's go, fellas. You know, they were called the top hats. I know certain people call them small hats now, but they were called the top hats. Big top hats back then. They wore the, yeah, I'm glad somebody said Lincoln. Remember how Lincoln used to wear that big, tall, top hat? So did Wilson. Who was that before him? It was a couple of presidents that did that. Basically, it started in the 1860s on up, where they all wore them big top hats. Roosevelt. Yeah, but they call them small hats now. Yeah, the big black top hat. Yeah, that's a symbol. I'm gonna get into that. Oh, somebody said Freemasons. Somebody said it. But I'm gonna get into that. I'm gonna get more depth in that. Honest Abe. Now, okay, now Abraham Lincoln. They lied to us about Abraham Lincoln, and I had proof on that. Even his right-hand man wrote a book about it. And I'm not trying to give it all away right now until I have it right in front of me and can show you with proof and evidence. But yeah, it's some things that was true, and it's a lot of things that was a lie. You know, and it's the reason why they have him on a penny facing the opposite way. And they try to make it seem like, you know, it's because he did a disservice to his own kind. No, he just was against separating. Okay, let me not give it away right now, because then you're gonna be like, what? But it's deeper than what you think. And he is not who they say he is. And I mean the person. That's not him. Now I remember, see, I don't want to get into that. Let me leave that. Let me push that to the side. Okay. I'm gonna get into Lincoln in another, in another video. Cause I had to do extensive research on him to actually find out who is that guy. But and I'm gonna put that out. I might even make it a book first. But we'll see. But yeah, what I have ain't on the internet. I can tell you that right now. What I have is not on the internet, and it will blow your mind. You gonna be like, no, they didn't. I'm gonna be like, yes, they did. Okay. I'm gonna tell you that. I can say this: the person that they showing us ain't him, and I got proof. And I know who that is. I'll say that. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna keep going. But keep in mind of this guy right here. University of Chicago.
Heavily influenced by the deceitful hidden agendas of industrialism, along with political European colonialism, where pseudoscientific theories were not only praised by one particular group of people, but justified
I'm gonna be
for
careful.
its subjugation of all non-white people. Before World War I began.
Oh, I stated this in my video from February 2017. You know this, Joe. Oh, YouTube removed this video.
In a speech directed to accredited businessmen, President Woodrow Wilson stated that henceforth public policy will be geared to providing a public education tailored to producing industrial workers who did not question orders and were skilled in only basic manual labors, and that a liberal education will be reserved only for a small elite. By the early 1900s, American industrialists recognized that compulsory public education was the most useful means to socially engineer the American population to suit the purposes of industrial capitalism. Local networks of corporate foundations, university education and psychological departments, educational accrediting boards, and governmental agencies arose to oversee the implementation of the blueprint for this ambitious but yet so devastatingly evil social engineering project.
Talk to him.
These entities included organizations such as the Rockefeller Foundation, the Carnegie Foundation, the Columbia Teachers College, the University of Chicago, the National Training Labs, the National Education Association, and the U.S. Office of Education, now known as the Department of Education. Andrew Carnegie, J.P. Morgan, John D. Rockefeller, and Henry Ford were the key contributors and introductional architects of this American educational system of forced schooling. According to Lee D. Baker, An author and a cultural anthropologist out of Duke University, he admitted that the 19th century physical anthropologists drew specious correlations between anatomical features and supposed behavioral traits of the various races. So in other words, these immigrants of Jewish or other European or African descent of the 19th...
Ooh, hold on, I forgot this part. Oh man, these people.
In other words, these immigrants of Jewish or other European or African descent of the 19th century, or rather the 1800s, purposely created and cultivated the science of anthropology with highly regarded racial discriminatory, very identical to the pseudoscientific concepts designed and utilized by Francis Galton that he called eugenics, right along with his predecessor, Charles Darwin, with his theory of evolution and natural selection, in which I mentioned more about this on my documentary called What's the Real Identity of an African American? I highly recommend that you watch that video as well. Now, getting back to Melville, he abruptly halted his studies at the Hebrew Union.
Wait. The quality of your life is based on the quality of the questions you ask. How does a Jewish immigrant know all about African history?
He abruptly halted his studies at the Hebrew Union College and then moved on to complete his graduate studies at Columbia University.
At Columbia?
What's very important to note here is while working on his master's and PhD, Melville found himself under the guidance of his professor named Franz Boas, a German immigrant from Minden, Germany.
Hold on.
Who migrated.
Hold on. This is their master teacher. I know I went over this guy multiple times, but if you don't know, if you're brand new to my channel, this is the master teacher for them. This is their master teacher right here. Franz Yuri Boas from Minden, Germany. Right here. In fact, that is the guy that was in that picture where you saw Woodrow Wilson and I put Charles Mason in front of. That was him to the left with the glasses on. You're going to see him in his younger days. I'm going to show you that. How the hell he know about... Just watch.
His master's and PhD, Melville found himself under the guidance of his professor named Franz Boas, a German immigrant from Minden, Germany, who migrated to North America during the year of 1887. Franz Yuri Boas was considered to be the sole author of American anthropology. In fact, he was dubbed as the grandfather of American anthropology by his self-proclaimed significant student.
Hold on, y'all. I want y'all to notice something. Who was the character that they gave us that they tried to say was a mad scientist that actually looked like this? Who was that? That actually looked like this individual. Mad scientist. Look, just like this. Albert Einstein. Woo! Oh my goodness,
Set it on
man.
fire.
Listen. Look. Look. Albert Einstein. That look just like him, though. Ain't that crazy? He go from that to that. That's him. That to that. Look at the beard. Look at the ears. The same ears. Look, beard, nose. He went from this to this. What happened? I'm not trying to be, don't. Something wrong. Something happened. Was it distress? He was looking old right here. Then he looked like he about to die right here.
self-proclaimed significant students, with Melville being one of them. As a professor of anthropology at Columbia University beginning in 1899, France heavily influenced many prominent people that we know of today, all the way up until his death on December 21st, 1942, and some of whom...
So don't forget that he died in the 1940s.
...shares the same hue of complexion as you and I. France had his own hidden agenda, but history loves to paint the picture as if it was done for the better good.
Yeah, it do look like he had a stroke.
It was designed to upkeep the continuation of manipulative indoctrination. For example, France promoted an idea that Negroes residing in America are all somehow descendants of Africans in Africa, based solely on the fact that we all share the same hue of complexion, that Negroes are somehow, meaning that's all of the evidence he had. Now keep in mind that this was the first time ever in history where people overheard rumors that Negroes are somehow Africans now.
That's him and his two sons right here. So he could have had a stroke.
And the Harvard-taught sociologist and one of the co-founders of the NAACP, and the first...
By the way, NAACP was co-founded by Pale Faces. Also,
so-called person of color to even earn a doctorate at this time, named W.E.B. Du Bois, took this fictitious idea to new heights, being as though he was considered to be a person of color, providing another side of social engineering influence amongst people that shared his same hue of complexion. In fact, Franz Boas influenced W.E.B. Du Bois in his teachings.
You see the picture?
Even while being a professor of sociology, economics, and history at Atlanta University. France taught and told Melville Herskowitz.
Hold on. What'd that say right there? Franz Boas, right? So he wrote
Melville Herskowitz, along with his other students, and even W.E.B. Du Bois, what to do and what not to do by sending private letters back and forth.
Look, think I'm playing? We are at the present time carrying through an investigation on the significance of intelligence testing among Negroes. The purpose is to investigate a community in detail in regard to its social background and to prepare tests accordingly.
Me too.
So as to be able to correlate social environment and what psychologists please to call intelligence. They're trying to gather information.
Damn near $150 every day.